my name's Katie Hessel. I'm an art historian and founder of the Instagram and podcast, The Great Women Artists, and I am delighted to be here at Dulwich Picture Gallery to see Shaping Impressionism, an exhibition of work by Berta Morizo, one of the foremost trailblazers of the 19th century. This exhibition, in partnership with Muzieem Marмоттан Moné in Paris, brings together 30 of Morisot's masterpieces. In this exhibition, the first show of Berta Morizo in the UK for over 70 years, we begin with the self-portrait from later on in her career in 1885. And what we witness is this woman who is presenting herself as stoic and formidable. She is in charge of the canvas, but it's a really exciting part of her career because suddenly she's moving and venturing into these more abstract-like shapes, these shards and splinters of colour. Berta Morizo was born in 1841, and she rarely, as a woman artist, was given access to tutorage along with her sister Edma. But actually in this exhibition we see a work by Edma. Now Edma wasn't allowed to continue with her education. She was forced to renounce her role as a painter in favour of marriage, but Berta Morizo, being this formidable woman that she was able to continue, and she even stuck with her maiden name, which is extraordinary. In this exhibition, we look at her work in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And in this period of time, we see her work shift exponentially. Really, she begins with these much freer images of women who are part of modern Paris, but who aren't yet allowed out to really venture independently. And then as the years go on, we see the canvas almost disintegrate in front of her eyes. It's almost a kind of precursor to the likes of Joan Mitchell, who was in the abstract expressionist movement. Because when we think about the Impressionist group, a group that formed in 1874, what they wanted to do is create this new movement that really paved the way for the avant-garde. And Berta Morizo was the only woman to be in the first exhibition. It was so rare for a woman of her time to achieve such acclaim, and really she was praised by the critics of her day and also lauded by the dealers as well. In this exhibition, though, we really see a feminine side, or a female gaze insight into Impressionism, because when we think of Impressionism, we often think of these scenes of everyday life. But of course, as a woman, she had to be chaperoned. So what we see here is we see this insight into actually a private domestic sphere of upper-class women in Paris in the 1870s and 80s. There's an extraordinary work called Women at Her Toilette. It's stunningly executed. Even just the detail of this glass with this rose on top is just captivating. But also the mirror image is sort of obscured, which could also, I think, sub in for a canvas, as though, is this woman a painter or is she just a woman at her toilette? And then we have a work such as Woman Reclining in Grey, which is really, I think, a breakthrough work in terms of looking at her, the shift in her painting style. Really, suddenly we go from this full image to this collapsing of shards and shimmers of paint. Her eyes are piercing, her lips are red, and really it's as though she's giving us a sort of fleeting moment into modernity, because these women were on the cusp of something new. They could suddenly be allowed to attend the opera, attend the Louvre. It was such an exciting period. What's beautiful about this exhibition is we really get a sense of who she was, how she lived, who she was surrounded by, not just the artists she surrounded herself with, but the people. Berta Morizo died prematurely. She died in 1895, which makes me think about what she could have achieved had she been witness to the splendours and the avant-garde of Paris in the early 1900s. This exhibition really affirms her as one of the greatest 19th century painters, and also shows how much she trailblazed in the 20th century and beyond.